Hello, this is Jessie Rodriguez Melendez from All Bases Covered, and welcome to the Spanglish World Networks on Zingo TV channels 249, 250, and 251. Please remember to download both the Zingo TV app on the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. The app is free. Zingo is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire and Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku sticks, also on all smart TVs 2016 and forward. Welcome to this week's edition of All Bases Covered. This is Jessie Rodriguez Melendez. I'm the host and proud owner of the Sports Business Institute. And my mission with this show is really to help sports leaders and entrepreneurs build, launch, and scale businesses that they're passionate about, businesses where they can take their all of their expertise, turn that passion into a paycheck. And so tonight's show is going to be really fun because it's going to be a little bit of an interview, and it's also going to be some training, okay? Because I love when we can use these platforms to really bring something that will create an impact and something that will make a difference and something that will teach the audience something. And so tonight I have a really special guest on with me. He is a marketing expert, and I have turned to this man personally for so much of my businesses. And I am so super excited to welcome him. Please help me welcome Javi Pulido to the show. He's a marketing expert, as I mentioned before. And so, Javi, I am so excited to have you here with me tonight. Welcome. So
Hello,
cool to have you here with me.
how are you doing, Miss Jessie? Thank you for so much for having me.
Yes, and if you're going to be joining us here tonight, please tell us that you're here so we can say hello. We're going to try to answer a couple of questions for anyone that may have some specific sports marketing questions. This is specifically for sports marketing, for sports businesses. Um, and like I said, I've turned to Javi personally for so much of our marketing and advertising. And I thought that it would be so much fun to have you here with me tonight. Let me also mention, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who's been tuning in. Some of our shows have actually gained over 200,000 views. I mean, that is so freaking cool. I'm so excited about that. And so, Javi, first tell me, first I want to know, are you a sports fan?
Well, I'm definitely got to be a sports fan, especially if we're in the United States. So I would have to say yes.
And of all the sports, which is your favorite?
Well, I mean, I like when I'm relaxed, football. When I'm in the zone, MMA.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, MMA has become a huge, huge sport nowadays. And for those of you that may not be familiar, my coach, my husband Tony Melendez, Coach Tony Melendez, is he was a boxer at one point, and he was a kickboxer. He won championships. Most people only really know Tony from the baseball world, and now, of course, the fitness. He's working on a bunch of fitness projects for men 40 and over. But yeah, he was an avid kickboxer and fought in the ring. So it was always in my household. And so I always say baseball is my first love. I love baseball, and I'm a huge Yankee fan. Yes, I am. I'm a real true Bronx girl and love my Yankees. But my second favorite sport has always been boxing. I've always loved boxing. And then, of course, my third favorite thing to always talk about is the sports business world. And another one of my favorite topics is marketing because it's so important. And so, Javi, I wanted to ask you, I know that you're in the marketing world, it's what you do. You actually coach coaches. And so that's why I thought that you would be the perfect person to have on to talk to us about why is marketing and knowing how to market effectively so important for business owners.
Well, one of the things that I realized early when I was struggling with my own business, I
Hmm.
really realized that most of us as entrepreneurs, we have the mindset of, I want to grow a business, I want to start a business. But as I was doing that research and I was trying to see all these people, what we forget to do is that, or we forget, or we remember that we have a passion. We want to join either a business or build a business from scratch. But because we have that dream, right? We have that dream inside of us that the man upstairs just gave us that dream to be able to have that, right? But we forget one thing. It's like you can have the most amazing company in the world, the most amazing product, the most amazing coach, because there's so many amazing coaches out there. But what if nobody knows you? If nobody knows you, marketing should be just part of your business. And they say that 25 to 35% of your earnings should go back into marketing,
Mm,
and most people fail to do that, and so they sit back, and then next thing I know, I don't know if you know the stats right now, but they say 85, I think it's 85 to 90% of businesses fail within the first 2 years.
yes.
And I've always wondered, why is it because we were not called to be business owners? And I really believe that is because we don't know how to market ourselves. And so I think that was my passion to help small businesses. I started with the small businesses, and then finally I found the coaches, and I've never turned back from that.
And I love that you said that. I'm going to say this because this particularly happens a lot with sports entrepreneurs. And it's because a lot of sports entrepreneurs are just that. They absolutely love to be out there with their athletes. That's their thing. That's what they love to do. They want to show up, they want to work with the athlete. I speak from experience because this is what used to happen with Tony. Tony used to walk into our facility and he was like, how many players am I training today? And that was all he wanted to know about. But I was on the back end. I needed those athletes walking through the door so that we can say that we were an actual business. And so what happens with a lot of sports coaches is they know they have the experience and they know they're passionate and they want to create an impact in their communities with athletes. They really want to get out there and they want to train the youth, but they really don't know how to market themselves. And so I love that you said that because it's so important for us to know that we need to get out into the marketplace. We need others to know who we are and what is it that we're offering. And that's the other part to that. You have to know what you're offering. You have to have an offer and you have to know how to package your offer sometimes. And so talk to us a little bit about what is your favorite marketing tool. I know what it is, but tell us what your favorite marketing tool and now is my favorite marketing tool and why.
Absolutely. Number one marketing tool that I use is my own platform. So I'll tell you where that came from, and that was about 7, 8 years ago. I was marketing to a lot of realtors and local businesses here in Texas. And the next thing I knew, one day I wake up and then I get an email from one of my clients, and she said, "Javi, I love you, but you're killing me." And I'm like, "What happened? Why? I'm doing everything you asked me." She goes, "No," she goes, "You gave me 6 new logins to all this stuff. I don't know where it's at. I don't know what it is," and so forth. So I think a lot of us push marketing away. We're like, "Oh, we don't like that," and that's because we know what we love. We love to do what we know how to do, right? If you're a coach, you love to coach. You don't want to know marketing, right? And I
Right.
think we need to learn. I always talk when I do events, and I'm here, I always say you don't even have to use my platform, which is 10x Advantage, but do something to be able to use and automate a lot of the process that you currently have. Example, as I was kind of resting today and I was meditating and I was thinking about what you said, the invitation and so forth, something popped up, right? And they said inflation is now in the United States about 9.2% or something like that.
Yep.
So think
Right.
about this, Jesse, and this is for all of us to take in mind is when you have a business and inflation goes up, guess what? Our bills still go and all these things still go. So what I tell people, I said, what you need to do is learn how to leverage technology to do what sometimes you even pay, let's just say an assistant. If you're paying an assistant $15 an hour, $20 an hour, $8 an hour, you one is that yeah, they can do it for you, but you could pay them per hour. What if you automate a lot of the emails and the text messaging and the events and the automation for appointment setting and Facebook ads. When they come in, you automatically send them a text message and so forth. Imagine if you did that, and if you really think about it, and if you really analyze how much you're spending, you're spending a lot more. Not forget the platforms, but you're spending more on things that you can leverage. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned about 3 4 years ago, because we say that we're coaches, right? But number one thing, we a coach always needs another coach, right?
That's right.
You know,
Yep.
I have four different coaches. I have a spiritual coach, I have a business coach, I have a digital marketing coach, even though I'm a digital marketer. Why? Because I always want to stay on top of the game, and I want to be the best of the best, because you
Right.
want to be the best for the people you serve, right? So when you
And,
think about,
and the other part to that, when you're working with a coach or a mentor or someone who's already done what you're wanting to do, you know, it's also because they're fast tracking your process. They're helping you to fast track what your desired outcomes are. And so working with someone helps you do that. And like you said, I mean, I have seven coaches or mentors in my life too. And you're one of them, right? When I know when I my point with this is, as a business owner, I wanted to know everything there was to know. So I understand, I want to say even more than the basics about marketing and marketing automation, and graphics and all of that fun stuff that there is that comes along with this. But in reality, once I understood how it all worked, understood the technology, understood all of, how to integrate and all of that fun stuff, at the end of the day, I don't want to spend my time doing that. I
that's
want
right.
to spend my time serving my coaches. I want to serve them really well. And so I turn to someone like you who absolutely loves doing this stuff, and who was able to help us fast track a lot of it. So yeah, I love that, that technology has now given us that opportunity with automation.
I think you said something very key, and people. I just remember I told you I went to Vegas, and I was telling you about mastering this. I got certified in the 5 day challenge and so forth. I paid $10,000 for that, right? 3 years ago, I paid $10,000 for another coach to help me get to work from where I was at to the next level, right?
Right.
And you're like, well, if you're so good at what you if you're so good at what you do, why do you need coaches? Because I think you said something that was very key. What we're paying for speed.
Right.
That's what it
Exactly.
is. We're paying for speed. You want to get there faster? You better go find somebody else who's been there, done that, and got the T-shirt that says, it.
Well, and it also helps you not only save time, but you also save money in the long run because you avoid the costly mistakes,
"Yeah,
right? I always tell my sports coaches, listen, you're also paying, not you're not just paying for my knowledge and everything that I can help you. When you're paying me, I'm guaranteeing that you're going to make at least 3 times more than what you paid in my fee. But in addition to that, I'm also helping you avoid making bad decisions and spending money you shouldn't be spending. And so it's a win-win overall for my clients, right?
yeah." And I see that a lot, especially like a coach, right? It's the same thing. Like when people go into marketing, digital marketing, they try to launch their own landing pages, and it happened to me, by the way, guys. So
Mhm.
why am
Mhm.
I here? So about 7 years ago, I started with the funnel building and stuff like that, right? So I think it took me like almost 3 months to create a funnel. And when I say funnel, I think people have misconception of what a funnel is, right? Because they think it's a landing page, and it's not. It's a lot more than that. As my experience, I went and I just thought it was a landing page, and when I created it, man, I had the most beautiful graphics. I had this, I had that, and guess what? Nobody was coming to it, and I'm like, what is wrong with this thing? Like I did everything they told me to do. Well, we forgot to install the analytics, the traffic. No marketing works without traffic, right? And I think you and I have spoken about like which
Right.
way we always want to go after the outbound marketing. Outbound marketing meaning we're reaching out to people. But at what time in your business do you say, okay, I have this set up. Now it's time to do inbound marketing, because one is you're trying to convince people that you're the person. And by the way, if you want to do that, I think it works very well. But nowadays, there's too much noise out there.
Right.
So one of the things that if we can get anything out of today is this, Jesse. for all of us, coaches, entrepreneurs, whoever is listening, and please hear me out. This is so critical, and I learned it. And by the way, this cost me $10,000 to learn it. Okay, so and it's,
Mhm.
we live in such a busy society, information overload. Everywhere you go, everybody is a coach now. Everybody's an expert now, right? Everybody knows. Oh, wait a minute, you want leads? You want leads? I'm sorry, I tell people now, I said, leads don't pay my bills. It's the conversion that pays your bills. And if you
That's
don't
right.
have the right process, now, this is what I want you guys to get out of it. If you're running a campaign to a traffic, for example, um, you're doing it to reels, to a lot of coaches today, they're actually marketing to small businesses, right?
Mm.
That's such a big word. Small businesses. What kind of small businesses? So please understand this. You have to learn how to niche down and micro niche today, because you want to be the expert in that field. For example, I think it's very cool with sport coaches. If you're training people on what, I'm sure you don't have a coach, like for example, you say you love baseball, right? Let's just say you're a baseball coach. Well, I'm sure you're not teaching people how to in basketball, in volleyball, in wrestling. You just don't do that. Why? Because you're the expert in baseball. So a
Right.
lot of coaches, what they do today is like, no, I can help any business. I can help any business. No, you can't. You can't help the world. So when you actually niche down, and when I did that, and I went into, because I knew the pain that business coaches were going through,
Mm.
or and coaches, I went to help them out, and I knew what the messaging and the language has to be specific for that person. So
Right.
on the marketing, the reason why people say marketing doesn't work for me is because you have not created that message that speaks to that one person that you're looking for to become your avatar, or your, what we call your perfect, your customer base, or that perfect customer. They're
Right.
out there. They're just waiting for us to reach out to them, right? And speak that language to them. So that's one thing that I really understood in this past training in Vegas, was that it's like, right now, webinars, they're not the same. It's very hard to do webinars because webinars do not convert like they used to,
Right.
because again, too much noise, too much noise. So you gotta have the message that you pull that person out of them, then bring them into your world, right? So that way you can nurture them enough so you can convert them later on. I think one
Yeah.
of the mistakes that we make, Jesse, is that, uh, and I always use this, and I think you probably heard me say this, but I'm like, if you have some, a beautiful lady in front of you, you don't tell her, "Hey, you're beautiful. Would you marry me?" Because she'll be
Right.
like, "What? What are you talking about?" We have to
Yeah.
know
Well,
how
let me tell you a little bit first, right?
to nurture that relationship. Take her to lunch, know what she likes, know what they don't like, speak to them, ask them questions, and then tell them about who you are. I think we have that backwards, but that's kind of what I've been just so passionate about doing with clients.
Yeah, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about my first favorite avenue of marketing. Okay, and then I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, and I actually want you to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on some of the ones that I'm gonna throw out. But first, let me talk about my favorite. Okay, my favorite has always been email marketing. I love email marketing, and I'm gonna tell you why here firsthand on this platform. I love email marketing, one, because you own your list, it's yours. As you build that list, it's yours. And you get to market specifically to those people who are in your audience. So that's number one. Number two, I love that, like with social media is great, and we're super grateful. I know I'm super grateful for specifically Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, right? That I conduct so much business on, and YouTube. Phenomenal. But what happens when these platforms go bye bye? And it's happened in the past. How do
Yeah,
you market then? Right. And if you have not taken the time to build a list
that's
from
right.
the marketing that you're doing on social media, then now you have no one to market to. So that's why it's always, till this day, it's still my favorite form to market. Um, and again, when you have a list, that means that that's people that have either subscribed to something that you put out to market to them with, or somehow they've become part of your tribe. Somehow they've become part of your list. They've subscribed somehow to a newsletter, or to some product that you've offered, and they've become part of it. And so you're able to speak directly to that audience, where on social media, you're speaking to everybody basically, unless you're running very specified ads, which I want you to talk about in a second. But first, I'm going to ask you about a couple of marketing ways to market, and I want you to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Okay.
Okay.
Before we start talking about, marketing and advertising, specifically advertising, paid ads. So text messages.
Definitely.
So that's a thumbs
Right.
up. Okay. Email marketing, we just spoke about, definitely. I'm
Thumbs
going to
up.
say a double thumbs up for me. Snail mail, like
Which
just
one?
mailers, snail mail, we call it.
For me, thumbs down.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thumbs
And
down.
then I'll explain to you why.
Okay. Um, how about referrals?
Um,
So marketing right to
can I
your
do a
group.
half a thumb? Can I do a
Okay.
half a thumb?
Half a thumb. Okay. All right. And now let's talk about paid ads,
Can I do 5, 10 of them?
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to us about paid ads and why paid advertising, when it's done right, because
Right.
that's the thing. Talk to us about paid advertising, me specifically for our sports businesses. And I'm going to again speak to sports coaches. Please pay attention to this if you're on here with us and ask questions. Feel free to ask some questions here. But paid advertising, when it's done right, what should people be expecting as a return?
On paid ads, you have, like what I was speaking about before, is you have to be very intentional about the language that you're speaking, because I know that because of we have that passion and we know we're spending money. So we say, well, let's just target everybody in, for example, life insurance, right? Like who needs life insurance? Everybody does. No, 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 no. That's not really true. Go try talk to somebody at 25-year-old about life insurance, see what happens. They don't do that, right? And also just life insurance in general. I have a coach that she does the life insurance. What I told her to do is this. I said, what about if you did life insurance, but you did it to couples only, right? Couples that are just starting, they
Like
just got
really
married.
right, like
Yes,
really.
so I said everybody's getting married every day. She said, but isn't that too tight? No, because you're known for that. And they will refer you, like you said, referral business. Referral business is actually probably one of the best marketing tools. But there's a pro. That's why I said half a finger, because that's a pro. But here's the negative about it. Most people are not, you're not going to convince somebody to everybody you see somebody. Every time you see somebody, refer me, refer me, refer me, because we don't think like that.
Okay, here's the caveat to that. I'm going to tell you where this is something I personally do and I've done in the past, and it works like magic for sports coaches. And
Okay.
that is to give an incentive to the
Absolutely.
person who's referring.
Yes.
And it worked like magic for us. I used to do something called TM Box in our facility, and it was specifically a referral system that I had put in
Exactly.
place. And so that for that reason, I say yes.
And absolutely. If you have that, if you're very intentional about doing something like that, yes. But just referral business by itself, it just doesn't work all the time, because you don't know when people are going to send you business. So if you're just depending on your referrals, ouch, that hurts. Because, like example, real estate. Well, if I talk to all my friends and my family and everything, I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to wait for them to refer me people. Whoa,
Right.
that's just that use. And the average realtor right now is selling 1 to 3 houses a year.
Wow.
So imagine that. So
Right.
why? Because it's the most beautiful referral business. No, just because they get a license to be a realtor doesn't mean that you know marketing, right?
Right. I agree.
That's one. On the email marketing part, I wanted to jump on that. Email marketing is kind of like buying a car today without a radio. They don't come without a radio. Even the
Right.
brand new cars,
Right.
email marketing is never going to go away. It's just
Right.
you have to know you like it because you're intentional of the messaging you putting out there, and
Right.
how is that message going to capture you versus everybody else. Because we know it. I don't know about you, but today I just had over 100 emails come in. So how do you know which ones are important, which ones are not? I
Right.
already know which ones. Like I'm intentional about that. So
Right.
absolutely, that's never going to go away. So
Yeah.
and on top of that, here it is. This is for everybody too. What you said was very key about building the list, right? Think about this. Facebook bought out Instagram, right?
Right.
Why?
For their
Couldn't 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 Facebook make another Instagram? Absolutely. They have the technology, they have the money, they had everything. They only bought them because they had a
they already had they already, yeah, it had already been built basically.
they
And
had
most times, and this is what I tell a lot about my sports coaches, I tell them, listen, don't only think of your list as a now thing. Think
right.
about it that if you ever wanted to sell your business later on, you're also selling your list, because
That's right.
that's work that you created up front. And so that's why so many businesses, when they sell, you're buying um that the potential business in that business, right? And so that's why a list is so important. um but I definitely want you to jump in on the paid advertising, because I think that it's so important. I think that people shy away from paid advertising for several reasons. One, they automatically assume that it's too expensive. Number one. Number two, they're afraid of it because they don't understand it. They're like, oh, I don't know how to market on Facebook. Or number three, sometimes they're just flat out not marketing properly. And so it doesn't work. And then they're like, oh, I tried it, didn't work. Right. And I'm talking from experience. There were tons of ads that I tried to run on my own. And yeah, it got me some exposure, but because I wasn't marketing it properly, like, talk to us a little bit about the difference between a boost, right? Boosting posts versus running an ad, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm going to talk to you about the expense, right? Well, I speak to a lot of coaches and business owners, right? And I tell them, I said, oh, so what's your cost per acquisition, right? Per client, right? And they say that, they say, well, nothing, I'm not doing any marketing. So, my leads are free. And I'll challenge you on that, because a lot of them want to go out and do networking events, right? So if you're going out there, if you do the math, how much does it cost to me to get ready, especially ladies, makeup, all that, right? Perfume, get in a car, go drive over there, stay an hour, or have your drink or your lunch, right?
Right,
Or unless you're drinking water, and they probably charge you for water today too. So you got the water, you got your lunch, then you come back. So you spend about 4 hours of your
right.
day trying to network with getting business cards, right? So what is that cost? And they said there is no cost. That's not true. You got
Right,
gas, you got time. How much is Jesse valued per hour? Let's say
right.
$75 an hour. So you just did 75 times 4. Now, why the paid ads are so efficient is because you're paying for speed, right? Instead of me chasing after people, I go target the people that are already looking for what I have.
That's
And
right.
guess what? They're like, yeah, but sometimes depends on the industry. You can have one from 3 to 7 to 14. I think we have one right now for like $18. But all they need is one client to get a $3,000 to $5,000 client, and their ads already done. I mean, it makes sense. So I think what we fail to do is actually do the numbers, right? Because if you do the numbers right, it's costing you to get your leads. And the problem with doing outbound versus inbound is the ad spend, is that when we're doing outbound, you're trying to convince people you're the one. And instead of when they're coming into you, they already know what they're coming to you for. You just got to get them on the phone. You got to, again, don't think that just because we're getting inbound, they're going to convert. We get them. And that's why I love automation so much. We grab them on the day one, day two, ask them day three, and then automatically response. If they say yes, if they say no, that's when the marketing, digital marketing comes in hand. Like you said, text messaging. I love
Right.
the text messaging idea, because right now, if you combine email with text messaging, it's very powerful, because again, we have an open rate right now between 3 to 5% right now today. So that's why people say, email marketing is dead. It's not dead. It's just, you just saying that because nobody's opening new emails.
Right.
So if you want them to open up your emails, be more intentional about the messaging. Sometimes, I don't know if you ever seen a headline, on the email, and says stop, and it has this little red things in there. You can see, I'm looking at my screen right now, and I have all of them are black, right? The name of the person, and then the head, the
Mhm.
title, right? but there's only one of them that has the little red things on the side, right? So you have
Yeah,
to be very
it
creative.
catches our attention.
Think
Right,
outside the box.
right.
Think outside the box to be able to do that. Like if you're a sports coach, start using maybe some little baseballs or footballs or things like that. Be intentional about, let people know what you love, because I think at the end of the day, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. How do you become likable, trustable, and all? In our right, you got to get them in your list first
Right.
before they can make that decision. Did that help?
Absolutely. Yeah, and again, specifically, I speak to sports coaches because I know a lot of them feel the overwhelm. They're like, I just really want to get out there. I want to just train my athletes, my players. I just want to be out on a field. I want to be, on a court, or I want to be in a pool. Have worked with so many different types of sports coaches, and this has always been their biggest challenge.
Can
I
I
don't know how to market
can I tell you
myself.
something about on that? Let me
Sure.
explain that. What you said right now is very key, because if I was a coach, it just came to my mind right now, and I hope this helps everybody, because I think at the end of the day, that's what this is about.
Absolutely.
If you're a coach, I'm gonna put myself. I am Jesse, right, and I do baseball, right. So, and let's just say from ages the teenagers or so forth, right. When you created an ad, who do you target?
Hmm.
A
Oh,
lot of
and
people target, yeah, they target the kids, right, or
right,
who makes the decision?
right. You got to target parents
The parent, the dad or the mom?
or the guardian.
The
And,
mom, right? The mom. Now, what's this? It's
well, and it
very
depends on the platform too. I always tell my clients, if you're going to market, know even on your platform who you're speaking to, because
so.
if you're going to market on something like TikTok, then yeah, you're marketing to a younger age group. But if you're marketing on Facebook, you're speaking, yes, to moms and dads, because that is the age group. So you
So
want to
as
know your platform.
so as a coach, what I would do if I was in that okay, what do I do and how do I do it? I would run two ads, one for the parents and one for the kids. Remember,
Mm,
totally different language,
that's
because
right.
on a kid, you're not going to give them you're not going to speak to a 17-year-old the same way you're going to talk to a 40-year-old, right?
Right.
Language is different. That's very intentional to say, hey, are you thinking about doing this and whatever, right? Well, now you get them enough to so they can show the parents, mom, look, right? Versus the other one, and then you actually to the parents, speaking to the parents directly or the kids directly. You can't do both, and that's what
Yeah.
people get very confused. Then they say, well, that didn't work. I tried that. Yeah, but what was your language like? Who's your avatar? What's the sport? Where are they at? What do they like? So that's why we have a whole entire list. When you find the niche, right, to actually the avatar, we have a whole entire list that's got like 20 different questions before we even start doing any
Yeah.
marketing, because until you know who you're serving or who you want to serve, the rest of it doesn't matter, because
Right.
most people are just using templated stuff, which you can, but the language has to change. That
Absolutely. I
makes
agree.
sense.
Absolutely. And so with that, for the marketing and advertising, do you say there's a specific besides obviously having your avatar and knowing specifically who you're speaking to, and is there a best time to market? Like, is there a time of day, or is there a specific day of the week that usually makes more sense for people to market?
Depends on the niche.
Okay.
Depends on the niche. So it depending on the niche. If you're talking about real estate, some people say, I'm just looking for people who are buying homes.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean that's not even true. Before they even buy a home, they already been thinking about it for the past 3 months.
right.
So why don't
Right.
you get it before that?
Yeah, and so I'm happy you said that, because again, with sports coaches, what I find is they're either marketing too late. Like I tell my coaches, you should have a content marketing calendar for the year. And that calendar should be set the December before your year even starts. I'm going to give you an example. We used to run 6 and 8 week summer camp programs. I see coaches marketing their summer camps in May or June. And I'm like, we're already at that point in the season. You need to market something like that in January. Because by the end of January or February, parents are already thinking, what am I doing with my kid for the summer? And they're already enrolling their kids in summer camps because they don't want to miss out and not have a chance to register them for something. So you have to know when you're going to market and how you're going to market that, right? So it's not just how to market, is when to market. That's very important. Specifically, I'm speaking now for sports, or youth sports organizations and teams.
Right.
Same thing with teams, right? They would want to market their summer team or travel teams in like May or June. And I'm like, well, we're already in that season. You need to market something like that. So sometimes you have to market one season, sometimes 2 seasons before. I tell my coaches, look at the fashion industry. Fashion industry starts marketing their new lines, or anything that's going to launch that's new. They don't market in season. They market a season before.
Right.
So right now we're in summer and people are frustrated because they're like, "Oh, I'm already seeing winter clothes out." Well, guess what? That's when that they're right. They're on target for their marketing. They have to market the season before. So by the time you're in that season, they're already ahead. They're in spring by the time we get into winter. So same idea. I tell my sports coaches, you can't market in season. You have to market before the season,
Before the
right? If
season.
you want to start advertising your strength and conditioning programs, you start that by the end of your summer season. You're marketing that because by the time the end of the summer season, those kids are ending all of their sports programs, their playing time. And now you want to start thinking about, okay, how am I going to continue to, make sure that they're working out and they're training and all that kind of stuff. So you got to market that way before you're in that season.
And how
So
I would do that, because you just said it. I don't think that, I mean, a lot of times we think like that, and you got to understand that they're not going to pay all these months ahead of time. Or you can actually do, hey, this is a beta launch or something like that. We're gonna this is or like a special, before the season special kind of thing, right? Or
yeah,
maybe even
early,
or
yeah, I
maybe
used to call
like
it early bird.
early bird, or maybe like a free PDF, what you need to look for when you do
Right.
ABC. Now you know
Exactly.
that people are looking for in the future, right? And in that PDF, don't give them what they need, give them what they want.
Right.
When you
Exactly.
bring them in, then you show them what they need, because people don't buy what they people we don't buy what we need, we buy
Right.
what we want. We live
Right.
in a selfish
Desired
world.
out.
Yeah, iPhone, I need everything's about me. So you got it. It's to me, marketing, advertising, it's all psychology. You don't believe me? Go watch the TV for an hour, and I bet you like, oh my god, I see it all the time. I'm like, well, and what I start doing, I'm like, what caught your attention on that? Look, they're 2 for 1. I'm like, yeah, they increase the price on one to give you the second one. So you
Exactly.
have to be very strategic on the messaging. Give
Yeah.
them what they want, not what they need.
That's, I always say that's the, but wait,
But
those
wait, there's more.
commercials. Wait, there's one more.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and you got to sort of, if you're going to be marketing yourself, you have to look at the big companies, how do they do it, right? What is it that they're doing and why is it so effective for them? And I'm not saying that we want to compete with those conglomerate companies, but let's at least learn from them. Let's watch what they're doing. Let's see how they're doing it,
That's
right?
right.
And then learn from that. So why is a platform like 10x that brings it all together for you? And this is, I'm going to speak for me and I'm going to talk to specifically my target audience, my sports coaches. Specifically, for me, the reason why I chose, and I've used many different platforms, but I've now chosen 10x because of its ease of use. Because I think that that's what overwhelms a lot of people is the technology part to this. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to learn how to do all of this stuff and integrate all of this stuff and, need to connect and make all of these things talk to one another and learn how to work. What makes 10x so valuable in that? I know for me, it's just that is that it's the ease of usage. I can send an email, I can send a text message, I can build an actual course inside the platform. I don't tell folks why a platform like this is just really helps with the overwhelm of technology.
I don't believe it's a software that makes it unique. I believe that I've taken it on myself to be able to speak to every single one of the clients, to help every single one of the clients. Can I always be there? Maybe not, but I
Mm,
always train on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Come on in, jump on. What do you need help with? Help them, because we got to understand that people, not everybody likes technology, but
right,
that's one. It's actually being very present with them and while helping them walk through the process, right? Through the journey that they're going to have. But most
right,
importantly, what I believe, having an all-in-one system, it actually helps you to that technology overwhelm. You have one platform where they can give you everything that you can think about, whether you want to create the course, whether you can create a website, whether you want to create a landing page, a campaign, a retargeting campaign, a recruiting campaign, or maybe you want to hire people, maybe whatever it is you want to do. It's about this. The most important thing that you can do in your marketing is knowing where your person is and what the journey they're taking and where in the journey they are. So
right,
the way we do is strategically. For example, if I'm going to launch a campaign, I say if a person comes in, they're new lead. If they warm up, now they answer. They're called a hot lead, right? Then conversation number one, conversation number two, conversation number three. They became a client. Do the onboarding. I'm tagging them throughout the process, so that way, if I say, "Hey, I'm going to do an interview like this," with Jesse, well, I'm going to invite all of them they have not bought, right? So I say, give me the list of everybody that has not bought that came in with the last 30 days and so forth, and start targeting it and says, boom, hey guys, I'm going to do this. Come in and join. That's exactly what I did with my 5-day challenge. It was just my internal list, and I closed 3 deals from that, right?
right.
So
Done,
very
done.
intentional about the journey of the client, the prospect that you're looking to bring on board. If you don't know where they are in the journey, it's very hard for you to market to them and target them.
And that's why I'm super excited, because I am launching, and you guys are going to hear it here first tonight. I am launching the Sports Marketing Simplified, all in one marketing agency specifically for sports entrepreneurs,
Wow.
because I want to help sports entrepreneurs overcome the overwhelm of marketing and advertising and the technology of all of this. And I'm pulling you into all of this because I mean, I know that they need it, Javi. I know that this is what's needed. I know that it was the missing link for us. Look, like I said, I understand all of it. I know it's all wonderful. And I have to give major props to my team, my VA and my team. They are phenomenal. And they're going to be coming on board and helping our clients through the sports
Right.
marketing, the sports marketing simplified agency, because this is what I see is the major overwhelm for my coaches. It's like they are like, I just want to get out there and work with athletes. I don't want to know so much about the marketing. I don't want to really, but I'm encouraging them. I'm telling them, I want you to learn it because it's always good for us to know it, even though if we're not the ones implementing it, if we're not the ones executing on something, we should still want to understand how it all works. And that's why I so appreciate what you do, where you come on a couple of times a week and you're teaching people how to really fully use the platform. Because that's the other part to this. There's other great platforms, but the support sometimes is really lacking. It's like you're in there and you're struggling and you're like, I'm trying to figure this out. And then you're forced to hire someone who understands it, because then you become so
That's right.
frustrated with it that you're like, I don't want to do this. It's too overwhelming for me. It takes up, I remember, I'm not going to say which platform it was, but I remember one time using a platform, and I'm not going to kid you. It took me 3 days to figure out one thing, like literally how to take a graphic and move it, and I wanted to expand it or something like that. And it took
ClickFunnels.
me, yes, yes.
I
I
came from
was
that. Yeah,
so,
I came from that
I was
family.
so frustrated, because although I'm not taking anything away from them, because my God, have they done wonderful things for people, have become multimillionaires through ClickFunnels. I mean, they really have done amazing stuff, but I couldn't believe that I couldn't reach a human being. I was
Oh,
like, I was so frustrated. And then I finally said, okay, I'm gonna have to hire somebody to do this for me, because I'm wasting all of this time that I could be finishing this course, and I can't finish the course because I can't get past this point in it. And so Um, I wanted to say thank you so much because I know that you really put your heart into all of this work. And that's why I specifically want 10X Advantage to be the platform that I work with all of my coaches on through Sports Marketing Simplified.
I
Because I
want to say
really,
something to you.
yeah, absolutely.
You're gonna be amazing what you do because I see your passion and I see your heart. When we have the heart to serve those people that we know their pain points, God just starts opening up those doors for
Absolutely.
you to serve. Like
Right.
we think that this stuff is to make money. Go serve enough people and you're gonna see what's gonna happen. I'm loving every part where I'm at today and excited about where it's gonna go. So I'm always here, Jesse, to help you. Anything that I can do, you already know. I don't know your husband, but I know you. I feel like I know you for years and years. But anything you ever need from me, I'm always here. You're gonna do amazing things with that agency.
Yeah, and even so, with the stuff that we have worked on, Javi, I just have to tell you, that's what was so impressive to me was the fact that whenever I need you, literally, it's like you're one text away, and that's comforting. It's comforting, and that's the type of service that I want to offer to my sports coaches. I want them to know we got you, we got your back. We understand that this can be sometimes very scary. Some people are very scared of technology,
Right.
and so letting them know that we got them. And the ultimate goal is, like you said, and I always say this to all my sports coaches, I tell them, if you're here for me to help you just make money, I'm not the coach for you. Because my
Right.
ultimate goal is to help enough coaches so we could reach more of the youth. So we can get more kids out there playing sports so that we keep them safe
That's
from
right.
the mean streets that are out there. We can help them get educated because through sports they can help pay for their education. We helped over 100 of our students get college scholarships. And definitely by far, we were not getting rich off of our facility. It was not happening. But we got rich in other ways. We got to see so many of those kids grow up and become successful in their marriages, in their work, their lines of work now, and just successful human beings. Many of them who have now come back and they say, we are so grateful for the work that you poured into us. And so you're so right with that. It's so important that we lead from the front all the time, and that we help people see that we're genuine. This is, I'm real when I say I really want to help sports coaches excel. I want them to, really go out there and I'm not saying be poor. By no means am I saying that, because sports coaches should get paid, and they should get paid well. But I always tell them, if that's your only purpose for wanting to work with me, I'm not the coach. We have to have our heart in the right place first, and that is to make sure that we're reaching as much of the youth as possible through this.
Yep.
And so I'm excited. I'm excited that I got to announce it here with you first. And
Yes.
so it's going to be Sports Marketing Simplified. 10X Advantage is going to be the platform that we're exclusively going to use. And it's because I know that we have someone like Javi Pulido, who's willing to really help us and help you, more importantly, help you gain the most out of your marketing and advertising. So, Javi, I want to thank you so much for being here live with me tonight. It's been my pleasure. What's one thing that you would like to send everyone off with tonight?
If you want to be successful in life, change the way we think about business, and you'll change your life.
Absolutely. I love that. This show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. Make each day amazing on purpose, and remember to always stay unbeatable. I will see you all next week for another edition of All Bases Covered. And I wish all of my sports coaches, make sure you hear this. Make sure that you are living your life out loud. Okay. Make sure that all of your talents and gifts don't go to waste. Make sure that you're out there sharing it with the young. They need it. They need us more than ever now. And so that's why it's my pleasure to do this every week, to come on, bring sports coaches, the best of the best, right? So that you can hear the encouraging messages that we have to share with you through the people that I bring on, through the guests that come on and share their heart and their passion, and want to help you make whatever it is that you're doing to serve your communities and to serve your athletes to the best of our abilities. So again, go make it an amazing week on purpose, and I will see everyone next week. Thank you. Good night.
Jesse.
Good night, Javi.